I'm not a complete retard. I am retarded, but I'm not a complete retard. That's why I can kind of start my own podcast. There's plenty of retards with podcasts out there. You might think I'm one of them. You might be right. Again, this is my first one, so there's bound to be some mishaps, but I'm just going to put this shit on the internet. Who knows? I've actually done quite a lot of stuff, and I wanted to start a podcast and start talking about it. I was in the military. I ended up leaving the country. I got out of the military, met a French girl. Anyway, we'll get into it. Let's start with this. It's some my Kagoshima tea from Japan. I think it really is a performance enhancer. I drink it every day, and it's completely made my life better. I'll talk about that later, though. I'm going to fire this bad boy up here. Let's see. This is the Mighty Plus vaporizer. I think it's probably my best friend. I did have some friends before, but not any longer. Well, I do have a few internationally. So let's get into it. I joined the military at I think I was like 19 years old, 19 or 20, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with my life. So I joined the military. And I completely failed they give you this test. It's called, is it ASVAB? I think I took the ASVAB and I failed it because, like I said, I'm completely retarded. And I got a very low score on it. And I was a complete retard. I didn't know what to do. And so, fuck it. I joined. I ended up joining the Air Force after a few different back and forth with different branches. And I'm going to puff on this bad boy here. 1 sec. Super light. You see, it's like, there's like nothing that comes out. It's like a vapor. It's way better than a joint, but it's a bit weaker. So I have to take a few puffs. We'll keep it light for right now. Yeah, so I ended up joining the military. I was in the Air Force, security forces, which is like it's police and base security, basically security and law enforcement, right? So I ended up doing that and studied. I went to school. I worked my ass off. I traveled all over internationally. It was pretty cool. It sucked though. It completely sucked. There's no way I'd ever stay longer than 4 years. It was terrible. I almost did. I almost stayed longer, but luckily I didn't have to. While I was in the military, I met I started learning French. I wanted to learn French, and I started learning French, and I ended up meeting a friend through an application. There's a few applications you can use. The one I was using was it's called Hello Talk. It's just an app. Another one's called Tandem, and so you can download this app, these apps or whatever, and they're just language exchange apps. So they let you connect with someone across the world. So you want to learn their language, they want to learn your language, and it's pretty cool. You can meet all kinds of friends and stuff. And I met a few friends, and it took a few years. I was talking back and forth, and I was in Korea, and then Japan, and I went to the Philippines, which was pretty cool. I went all over, and I ended up meeting a few friends through these applications, and I would speak English like 2 or 3 days a week, and then I would speak French like 2 or 3 days a week. Just like I'd call these guys before work or whatever, and with the time difference, it was nighttime for them, morning for me, and I would talk to them and try and talk in French. And so I would say we'd have coffee conversations and things like that, and I would try and learn, and it was like free lessons, and it was the same thing for me. So I was giving them free lessons, they were giving me free lessons, right? And I ended up getting really good. Et maintenant, je sais parler français. En fait, c'est exceptionnel. I speak really great French now, thanks to them. and they actually introduced me to this girl, and I was still active duty at the time, and I ended up, they linked me up with this girl, and they said follow her Instagram account. So I did, and then I ignored her for about a year, and I, and then I remember I was on duty talking with a few dudes, and I said, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy a plane ticket. And go visit her. So I had to take leave, and it was a big thing because I had to leave the country. And before I went to Brussels, they made me, I was in the Air Force, right? They made me meet with OSI, Office of Special Investigations, because I was going to Brussels because they have so much terrorist activity and like all this crazy stuff going on in Brussels. And that's where I ended up going, but I had to have a lot of meetings and all this stuff and fill out forms, and it's a pain in the ass just to go see this girl, whom I've never met before. I've never met her at all. I've only FaceTimed with her. Like, she could have been a super big black dude, with a massive dick, and about ready to hog tie me as soon as I got off the plane, but that wasn't the case. Anyway, I ended up taking leave. I bought a ticket and everything like that. And we had a good connection. And there was some other things going on in my personal life at the time, but we can talk about that later. We have lots of time. And so anyway, I just flew out and I met this girl. Like, I've never met before in my life. I met her through a friend. My friend, through one of these applications in Belgium, introduced me to her, and I started talking with her, and then I said, fuck it, I'm going to buy a ticket. So we bought a ticket, and I found myself in Brussels. I remember being on the plane, like, what the fuck, I'm about to meet this random chick, that I met on the internet from a different country. And when you're in America, like, the thing is that everyone thinks is they want to take your passport. That's why foreign people want to be with Americans, or at least that's what people are told. That's what I was told a lot, from my parents and other people, that the only reason someone would want to be with American, not the only reason, but you should be very skeptical, be very careful. And I ignored it completely, which I'm really glad I did, but it could have turned out very bad. But it turned out okay. So I ignored everyone's advice. I went to Belgium, and I got in a relationship with this girl, long distance relationship. And I think I took 2 or 3 weeks, and I had planned a trip. I took her to London. We went to London together. We were in Brussels. We went to Paris. We went all over, and we just hung out and got to know each other. And it was amazing. And I ended up proposing to her. We got married. Well, we proposed there. And then I still had another year left on my contract with the military. So I had to go back. I couldn't get out of it. I don't know. You guys probably don't know how it works. Some military guys probably. But when you sign a contract, that's the contract. You're not getting out of that contract. So you can't just quit. It doesn't work like that. So I signed a 4-year contract. Thank God I didn't sign a fucking 6-year contract like an idiot. They give you like $150 extra a month or something like that. It's like a stupid amount of money. Like, it's not a great amount of money. And they add 2 years to your contract, but they give you like a rank. So like when you get out of basic training, I had 0 stripes, 0. So I didn't have any stripes on my sleeve because I signed a 4-year. But they were automatically ahead of me. Like, I think, if I remember right, when I got out of basic training, I had 0 stripes, and they had, the people who signed a 6-year, they had like 1 stripe. Or no, I think they had 2 stripes. I think they were immediately A1C, Airman First Class, and I was still an airman. So I remember that sucked at the time, and I really didn't like it because they called me slick sleeves, because you're walking around, you have nothing on your sleeves. You don't have anything. You're just brand new. And at least if you have an A1C stripe, it's like they this guy might have been around at least a small amount of time, but not me. I was completely out, and I had nothing to show for it. And luckily I signed a 4-year contract. But going back to what I was talking about with this girl was I still had a year left on my contract. So so that's what we did. We did long distance for a year, and like the next plan, what were we gonna do? Because I was gonna get out, and I was finishing up my bachelor's degree. So I'd have to transition and find some kind of job or something, and I had basically a year to do it as I was getting out of the military, still working, finishing up my degree, learning French, like all this stuff. And I am quite adventurous, and I said, fuck it, I'll move to Belgium. So, we talked about it, and the plan was possibly for her to come to me. And she wanted to visit the U.S., but I was in Alaska at the time. I was in Anchorage, and Anchorage is a shithole. I don't know if you guys have been to Anchorage, but it is not a nice place. I mean, it's beautiful, but it's beautiful as in the natural scenery. But then, like, as you're driving down the street and you're watching these beautiful mountains and everything, there's like a dead homeless guy in the corner. I remember I was coming off of base a few times. I'll tell these stories later. But I don't know, I saw several dead people just sitting in the street, and this one guy, he had, I think he got hit by a car. I was still in uniform, and I was like emergency services. I was like fucking police officer, like coming out of off of base, because I lived off base at the time, and I saw this dead guy in the street. Like, I was driving down, I had a Honda Element, like this fucking toaster car, and I saw this guy in the street, and he didn't have any pants on, and I don't know why. I think he got hit by, sometimes when people get hit by cars, not all the time, but sometimes their clothes come off. It depends on how hard they get hit. Sometimes their shoes come off. Sometimes, like, just weird shit happens. But, I mean, to have his plans completely off was kind of weird, but, who knows? So his pants were off, and he was just laying face down in the street, and there's, like, a group of people around him. And I got out, and I looked, and he looked dead to me. But, I didn't have any gloves on me. And this guy's a homeless dude in Anchorage, like, they have a lot of these, like, tribal people, these native people that live up in Anchorage. And they live in, like, the village up north. But they, what happens is they actually get exiled from their villages because they start drinking. And they start drinking, and they can't stop. And they get a bit crazy. And the village literally exiles them to Western society, which is, Anchorage is the closest city. So that's where they send them. And you have just basically a bunch of crazy drunk people just dying in the streets is how it is. Complete alcoholics, because they also get like $1,000 a year from the government. I don't know. It's called the PFD or something like this. It's like this fund that they get. I don't know how it works, but you like sign up for it, and they pay you like $1,000 or something. It has something to do with oil. It's like if you're a resident, you get like $1,000 or whatever, like a year. And that's what they did, and that's how they ended up getting money to go buy booze. So I saw this dead guy in the street, and I didn't do anything because I didn't have any gloves on me, which was stupid because I had just come back from the armory. I left all my shit, all my gear in my locker, and I was going home for the day. And normally, you should carry this kind of stuff if you're in law enforcement and whatever. You should always have some gloves on you, a tourniquet, flashlight, gun, all that stuff, even when you're off duty. But I just wanted to come home and chill, and I didn't. And there's no way in hell I was going to touch this dude. I just looked at him. He looked infected with something. I don't know. He had like these needle holes on his arm, and like it was all red, and it was not something I wasn't going to touch. And God forbid giving this guy CPR. Like, was I going to give this fucking dead guy CPR? Like I don't have any protection for my mouth. They have these these little kits that you can put in your mouth, and protects your mouth. Kind of. I mean, it's kind of like a condom, something kind of, it's some kind of protective layer, when you're trying to resuscitate someone. And I didn't have anything. And so I just called the police, and they came and dealt with them. But that's Anchorage for you. It's just a shithole. There's homeless people fighting, dying in the streets. We used to find dead people all the time. They just come in the winter. You have fucking long winter. It's like 8 months long. and it's cold. And you have these homeless dudes that are just drunk walking around without any shoes, coming from these villages. And Exile, they've got nothing to lose, and they're just drunk as fuck, and they just die all over the place, So, that's what it is. But that's why I didn't want to bring my wife to see the beauty of America. And then what else was I going to show her? California. You know how much of a shithole LA is? Have you guys ever driven through LA? Oh my God. I mean, there's some nice beaches and stuff, but like you guys, you go to the beach and then you look on the beach and there's like some fucking cartel guy or something with like face tattoos, and you're like, holy shit, like I wanted to get out of the country, That's kind of where my mind was, and that's why I was. It's not that I was specifically looking, for anyone or anything like that. It's just like I wanted to learn something, and I ended up meeting somebody that I liked through it. But so that's why we didn't plan for her to come and live come and move to the U.S. Because to be honest, I've been to Brussels, I've been to London, I've been to these cities, and they're way nicer. I'm not gonna say they're nicer. I mean, they have some shitty parts, like really shitty parts, especially in Brussels, man. You get some like ghettos in Brussels and super dangerous places, which we'll go into later. But at the time, I thought, I'll just go over there because I'm up for the adventure. I don't give a shit. And I have nothing to lose. There's nothing like really holding me here. And I want to learn a language, and I want to be in a country, and I like you. So let's go, bitch. So that's what I did. I ended up moving to Belgium after I waited for my contract to get up to finish. And then I fucking moved. I bought a one-way ticket. I packed my bags. I had a kit bag. I had like that green basic training bag. I don't know what it's called, but I had that. It's like a duffel. I had this duffel. I had a few kit bags that I had acquired. And, and I packed all my shit in there. I had like 4 bags, and I just fucking threw, because I lived in an apartment. I lived on base for about 3 years, and then I got an apartment off base when I hit a certain rank. I was a senior airman. I think it's E4 when you get to live off base, or E3. I think I was an E4. So I was a senior airman. It's like just under sergeant. So I was like a senior airman. It's an E4 in the Air Force, and they give you, like, the military, they give you like a fund, like an extra it's not a bonus, but it's like they give you like $1,200 a month. They did at the time, $1,200 a month to go live off base. I think it's called BAH. I don't know, base and housing. I don't know what that stands for really, but and then I had BAS, which I think, if I remember right, BAS is food. So I had they give you like $300 a month or something for food, and then they give you like what else did I get? I think that's all I got. And then you get your salary, right? Oh, I got something because I was overseas, technically, because Alaska is considered overseas. So I didn't get normal pay. I got augmented pay. Augmented pay. I was paid more because I was technically overseas. I was not connected to the continental U.S. So I got a bit more for that too. And I ended up finding a apartment for like $800. So I found this apartment, and it was about 10 minutes from base, and I took it. So I took this for the last year. I took a year-long contract, and it was a rat-infested apartment, and I had no furniture because I had no money. Well, I mean, I did have money. I was really smart. I started investing and stuff, but I didn't spend any money because I'm a Jew. And I didn't spend any of it, and I figured, why am I gonna get a fucking couch? Like, I'm never here, because I was just working. I was working like 18-hour shifts, 19-hour shifts. It was insane, because in law enforcement, it's fucking crazy, and security is crazy, and it's a shitty job. But I was working very long hours, and then I was studying full-time for my bachelor's degree, and I was studying French, and I was in the gym lifting. So I was learning, I was going to business school with this online university. It's a legit accredited university, and so that's where I got my business degree from. But I didn't want to pay for Wi-Fi or a couch because I said, what am I just gonna fucking live like a loser, and hang out in my house like some fuck? And so I decided that I would just go to the cafe, which was about it's not a fucking cafe. I mean, it was like this. It wasn't a chain, but it was called Kaladi. I think it was kind of a chain in Alaska. It's called Kaladi Brothers. It's this chain, kind of a chain. It's like this really local thing. And I would go there because I hate Starbucks. To be honest, their coffee just tastes like dog shit. It just tastes terrible. It just tastes burnt. And I am not like, I don't know who's watching this right now, but I am not like these fat fucks in America, that need a fucking kilogram of sugar and processed shit to drink coffee. Just drink a fucking coffee, man. Drink a fucking espresso. That's what I would go and I'd fucking drink an espresso. And you know what? I didn't like how it tasted. I didn't like it. But I drank it anyway. Do you know why? Because I'm not a fucking pussy. I drank it anyway. And then I chased it down with a fucking menthol cigarette. That's how I started my mornings. But I would study there. I would go to Kaladi Brothers and I'd study there. So I'd work a fucking 18-hour shift. I worked night shifts, I worked mid shifts, and I worked day shifts. I got selected through all the three. So I started on day shifts. So I would work I think shift would start at 6 a.m. So I'd get up at like 4. I'd get up at 4. I'd have a coffee and a cigarette. I'd go to the gym. I'd lift some weights. I'd come back, get my uniform ready, go to the store if I had to go to the store, and then I would, if they were open, I think a few were open. I used to go to, and then I go to fucking work. You have guard mount. You go to guard mount, and then you'd arm up and all that shit, and you go to guard mount, and then you'd post out, and that's what I did. And then you work a fucking 18-hour shift because something happens, and then you have to do paperwork. And or somebody like fucking kills themselves or something, like on your squad, and you're there for all fucking day, which happens all the time. And anyway, so we'd work that, and then I would come back and fucking study. I'd get off at if I remember 2. I think I got off at 2 p.m. If you're lucky. I think that's when you're supposed to get off, but normally you'd get off 3 or 4 hours after that, So anyway, to get off, I'd still have a bit of time, and I've already worked out. I've already lifted my weights, so I would go study. I went to this fucking cafe, and I'd get coffee, and I would just, I'd use their Wi-Fi, and I had a shit laptop. It was complete dog shit, but, I didn't want to pay the money for a nice one. It's just school, I just needed Google Docs basically and a Google search engine. It wasn't crazy. I wasn't coding or anything, I was just writing papers and doing Excel stuff. And, so I think I had a Chromebook, and it was complete dog shit, but it worked. It worked for, what I needed to do, which was mostly papers and stuff. It was mostly writing papers and then statistics courses and things like that. So I just go to this cafe and I'd fucking do my schoolwork, use their Wi-Fi, and then I'd go back to my house and my apartment, and all I had was a bed on the floor. It was just a bed on the floor, and then I had one of those, I don't know what it's called. I think it's like a tower. It's this it's like a pull-up bar and a dip bar together, and then at the bottom you have these push-up things, and that's all I would do is I would just work out, and then I slept on the floor. Basically, my bed was on the floor, and then I had no furniture. So I had a few suitcases, and then I had, that's all I had. And then a shitty apartment. I had rats run over my body as I was sleeping. I would sleep on this shitty fucking, on the floor of this apartment, and rats were literally all the time. They would come and run over my body because in Alaska in the fucking wintertime it's cold, and all the animals kind of go inside. So they try and find they get into the houses, and they get inside of apartments and all this stuff, and it was very infested. I didn't have any insect issues, but rats and mice, yeah, that was a big problem. Anyway, that was my great life in my shitty apartment in fucking Alaska. In the military. I ended up leaving, and I got on a plane. It was pretty crazy. uh, I told her to be there at the airport to pick me up, to meet me. And I get off the plane, and she's there with a coffee, and I have 4 bags. She got me a coffee, and she was waiting there for me, and I had 4 bags. And uh, I had never really taken a bus before, because I came from like the West Coast. I came from like Phoenix, Arizona. So not even LA. I mean, I came from the fucking desert, you know. And that's where I spent most of my life when I was, you know, a kid. And I've never really taken a bus before. I mean, they have buses here, but no, it's only like homeless people and like drug addicts that use them, really. I mean, that's like what people say, don't take the public transportation. So I didn't really use them. So I've never really known how to take a bus. I've always had like a car. And even in Alaska, I had a car. I never took, you know, the bus. I did. I went to college a bit in Flagstaff, and I ended up failing out. I just wasn't ready before the military, and I did take the bus a few times, but I wasn't quite savvy, and I didn't know how it worked. So they had like the bus, you know, and so I had 4 bags, and then she said, "Well, let's go. We're not going to waste any money on an Uber. Let's take the bus." So we hopped on the bus, and I've never been on a bus before. I had 4 military bags, and I'm dressed like a fucking American. I just look like a retard. And yeah, I was jacked, you know, and I just dressed super American, and I just stuck out. I stuck out like a fucking sore thumb. It was crazy. And I had these fucking ABU and olive drab bags, you know. It was like I just like who the like, you know, that's just all I had. It wasn't that I wanted to travel that way. I actually hate I never traveled in uniform, nothing like that. Like I always, if I went somewhere and like someone wanted to meet me or something, I'd always change out of my uniform. I would never walk out around anywhere, you know. I think it's a douche thing to do. It's like, look at me. Unless you really have to go to the store, okay, fine. You know, if you just worked a fucking 18-hour shift, whatever. But like to go like walk around the mall or something, come on, bitch. Like, what are you doing? Small dick energy is how I would put it. You have something to prove. And what the fuck are you trying to prove? To some fucking fat loser, that some lesbian with red hair that works at Starbucks, like, look at me. You know, like what are you? You're a fucking IT technician, or you work like in a hospital and you're trying to walk around and get attention. Come on, bitch. Like, what are you doing? Come on, man. Anyway, I was on this bus, jacked. Like I had like 4 military kit bags, and we had to take a few buses. Like we had to take a bus to a tram to another bus, and then we had to walk. So that's what we did, you know. And she had 2 bags and I had 2 bags, and and we transferred. I've never done this before. We got into a tram. The only time I've taken a tram was when I traveled overseas, or like in the metro when we were like I was in Korea and like Japan and stuff, like. But I never like it was a few times, you know. I didn't like live in these places for an extended period amount of time, and I was mostly working, so I wasn't out like hanging out, really. You know, I would get drunk a few times and then come back, you know, and that's kind of it. And it's very supervised. They don't just let you go out and do whatever you want, you know. Like there's like a NCO watching to make sure nobody does any stupid shit, you know. Anyway, I'm on this bus, and looks kind of shitty, you know, to be honest. Like I remembered it, but like it's kind of like in certain areas kind of, it's very Brussels is very, you guys probably haven't heard this. It's probably an American audience, but it's called Brusselization. It's so Brussels it was a beautiful town. It is a beautiful city, but they mixed in like these really ugly communist block buildings. It's and then you have like some amazing like 15th century architecture. You know, there's like gold and shit on the buildings, and like you know, they're beautiful and intricate, and there's history and everything. And then right next to it, you have like something that looks like it came out of like 1980s Moscow, you know. It's fucking crazy. Like probably not Moscow, because Moscow is actually pretty beautiful, but I'd imagine some shitty suburb is probably what it would look like. But it's got this Eastern European feel, you know, to it, like this vibe. It's kind of this dark vibe, you know. And Brussels is very rainy, and it's cloudy and whatever. So that's kind of what it, and I was like, you know, I just moved. I was just in the military, and when you're in the military, they give you this like, they give you this false sense of what America really is, and like it's brainwashing. It's exactly what it is. I mean, that's what. Have you guys ever heard like they break you down to build you back up? You know, that's what they do. They break you down to build you back up. They're fucking brainwashing you, bitch. Like they literally strip everything you have from you. They strip your clothes. They strip your identity. They strip your hair. They strip everything because they want to make you neutral. Because whatever programming you had before that time, whatever programming, if you were, you know, kind of a hippie dude, if you were kind of this, well, how would you show that? Well, you'd show it through your clothes, right? Well, I'm going to wear like this fucking weed shirt or whatever. I don't know. I'm a fucking hippie. Like, you know, like, you people show who they are through what they wear. And well, that's a large part of it. And like their hairstyles and like, that's how people express themselves. You know, a lot of people express themselves that way. So when you take that away from someone, and whatever they had before that, their family, like their friend group, that's a big one, who they associated with, their music style, like everything. You take all that shit away, erase it. And that's what happens on day one of basic training. And then you're neutral now. Now you're neutral. Now they can color in the lines however they see fit. So it's propaganda. So you're getting whatever the government wants you to be, you know. And what do they want you to be? Well, they want you to be, you know, whatever your MOS is, and they want you to, everyone to have that same baseline as brotherhood and like, you know, freedom and like all these American virtues, you know, which actually don't quite exist. I mean, we'll do another video on this, but we can talk about the Epstein files. You know, what did Epstein think about patriotism? I'm quite curious. You know, I'm curious what Jeffrey Epstein would have thought about American exceptionalism. You know, like let's talk about that. I'm just giving you an idea of what the military does, and so. That's kind of how you're thinking, right? So if you can imagine 4 years of being indoctrinated into something like that, you know, living. I mean, these people are not your coworkers; they're your family. They're all you have. You know, some of these people don't have any family, and they don't have anything, and so they left everything. That's literally the lowest option. I won't say the lowest because it says that there are options higher, or, you know, basically it means that things are unequal. But I'm not talking about things that way. I mean, these people have no options. Zero. So they join the military. This is their last option before like suicide, you know, which some people do fucking anyway. So it's not like everyone's running to join the military. I think it's 1% or less than 1% of people that join the military. So think about it that way. You know, you're getting a lot of crazy people, not crazy people in a bad way, but people who have been through crazy things, who have crazy lives, who have literally nothing left to lose. They'll literally sign up to go die for their country before they do anything else. So think about that a bit. So the military reprograms you in a weird way. And, you know, the same as any country, North Korea or China or whatever. I'm not saying America is North Korea, but I'm saying they use the same tactics. You know, the tactics have been around for a long time. So they indoctrinate you into a specific belief, into a specific ideology, okay, and then that's in your head. So and then it was really hard for me to leave. It was really hard for me to leave America because it's always in your head like, this is the best country in the world, right? It's the only country in the world. It's the only country that exists. Well, that's what I thought, you know, that's what people put in my head. Go tell some fucking NCO that France is better than America. You know, he'll just think you're stupid, you know. In reality, he's retarded. And that's why he's in the NCO in the military. He's a complete retard. So, you know, don't take people's opinions too seriously. But just to show you, that's what some people think. So it was really hard for me to get out of that culture because you're in that culture and it's like, back the blue, you know, and all this stuff like blue lives matter, you know, and like everyone would like, somebody would get killed or somebody would die, which, you know, it's really cohesive and great, but like people would put like a black line or like a blue line through their badge or whatever, like to show solidarity, you know, if somebody got shot or whatever, you know, and it's a cool thing. It's like, it really is like a brotherhood, you know? And it's, once you get into something like that, it's pretty hard to get out of it. Not that it's hard to get out of it, but it's like, you know, it's hard to adjust. And a lot of people, they make whatever they did in the military their entire personality. So if you like, you know, drive down the street and you see some douchebag with like all this stuff, I won't say douchebag, that's too harsh, because some people don't have anything else, and that's all they attach themselves to. They don't have a personality. They don't have, they're not willing to grow. So whatever they did, it's the same thing about like a high school guy. You know, like imagine like a high school dude. The guy who peaked in high school. That's the thing. That's the guy who, when he's an officer in the military and then he retires after 20 years, still parks in the officer parking spot. That's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guys who like have stickers on their cars to show everybody, you know? It's like they have something to prove because they have extreme small dick energy. Why? Like, what are you going to, you're going to put like okay, let's say you were like special forces. That's pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. You earned that. Great. But you're going to put that shit on your car, man? So like you can show like Tammy, like the kindergarten teacher, you know, who's also a lesbian, like, and a fucking retard with blue hair, like, so you can tell her about how cool you are. Come on, man. Like, I won't say bitch because like it's too far. But it's small dick energy. I will say that. That's very small dick energy. When you start like showing like, look at me, you know, it's like people who dress like in really weird ways just to get attention. That's all it is attention seeking. It's because like you aren't happy enough with yourself, and you know, you're not happy enough with who you think you are. You're not secure in yourself, so you feel like you need to project that onto other people. Like, look at me, like I was homecoming king in 1984. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Now you're homeless. So, you know, well, I guess a homeless guy wouldn't have a car, you know, but a command sergeant major would. You dumb fuck. Like, come on, bitch. Like, get that shit off your car. Anyway, I was talking about being indoctrinated into the military. You know, you have they teach you how to think, you know, well, like what you should think. And so if you think differently, they think you're retarded. And so they pull you back in. You know, that's the whole thing, is they want to pull you back in. They want to get you to sign another contract because you've already been trained, right? So you've already been trained. The government's already put X amount of money into you. It's cheaper for them just to get you to sign another contract and send you somewhere than it is for them to get another person. And they've already done the security clearance on you. They know you're good to go. Like, you're in the system, man. Like, they're going to try and keep you, you know? NCOs, like everyone's going to try and keep you. Commanders, whatever, you know? And so to me, I was kind of like, it was kind of weird getting out. It did feel weird. It felt like I was leaving like some kind of brotherhood or anything, which now I think, yes, it was a brotherhood, but it was also a cult, you know, not a bad cult, but it was a cult, you know, it was a group of people who believe certain things, you know, and do things normal people don't do. It was basically a cult. So, you know, I got out of that. Extremely weird. And then I was on a bus in Brussels with 4 bags and this French girl, this Belgian girl, you know. And it was a really weird feeling. I remember I was on the bus and I was like, did I just fucking move to Europe? To Belgium, specifically. I didn't know anything about Belgium, really. You know, I didn't know. Like, I mean, there's nice buildings and stuff, and the waffles tasted good. And, I mean, it was cool. Like, I spoke a bit of French. My French sucked at the time, you know. And I didn't really know what I was doing. But I'm glad I did it, you know. But I was on a bus. It was very scary. Quite scary, you know. Especially when you're, like, coming from, like, a military, like, combat arms kind of unit. And, you can't even have a gun. Like in Europe, and that was like a big thing. It's like, I can't even have a gun. Like, you know, like I wouldn't even move to California before because I felt like they're taking my liberty. You know, like Oh, then I took her to her. I felt like they're taking my liberty, and I wasn't free. Like, what these fucks, they can say like what I can and can't do. You know, they can decide whether or not I can have this piece of metal. You know, like which I thought was ridiculous. But I ignored that, and I moved anyway. I moved to Europe, you know, which is way more restrictive. You can't even have fucking nunchucks, man. Like, you can't have nunchucks. You can't have, like, well, it's not in Europe. I will say, specifically in Belgium, you can't have anything. You can't even have pepper spray. Pepper spray is illegal there. You can't have anything. So, yeah, that was kind of weird, you know, and that was going through my head too, especially when you're like in law enforcement and you know how weird things can get and dangerous things can get, and like you don't even have fucking pepper spray, you know, which I refused to carry while I was in, because I got pepper sprayed and tased, and everyone has to. You go through you know, exposure training is really what it is, because if somebody gets it, you know, and they spray you with it, well, you better know how to react, otherwise you're going to get killed. So I refused, past tense, passé composé, to carry the pepper spray because it hurts like hell. It is hell. I got pepper sprayed, and it was like, it took like 2 days for it to stop burning. So that was not fun. Anyway, you can't have that in Belgium. Anyway, we get off the bus. It's our stop. She's carrying 2 bags. I'm carrying 2 bags. We get up to the apartment. I've already been there before. I was there a year ago. And this girl, she waited for me. She waited for me for a year. That's how serious she was. And that's kind of how serious I was too. We just waited for each other, you know, and we didn't really know each other that much for that long. And I was done with military girls. I guess we can talk about that later. Not that I was done with military girls, because that implies that I was interested in military girls at one point in time, which was never the case, because I don't want to get any diseases, because military girls are fucking disgusting. I would never get with a military girl. I mean, like, of course, like, you know, I had some fun, but I would never, like, I couldn't respect a military chick. They're disgusting. Oh my God. Like, if you've seen like a chick, like in a ABUs, Airman Battle Uniform, you know, if you see like a chick in ABUs and they have their hair like tied back in the regulation way in like basic training, like, you will never get a boner again. Like, she might look hot, you know, like outside of the military, but like the moment you see a chick like that, it's like, oh, I see reality now. All the filters have gone away. There's no filters. There's no makeup. That is what you are. And I didn't love it, personally. I didn't love it. But look at me. I look like, what do I look like? I look like the Playmobil guy, you know, like the it's like the Lego with like the haircut like this. I just got my haircut the other day, and they cut it a bit too short. But anyway, probably shouldn't be talking. But military chicks are disgusting. They're absolutely disgusting. And you only engage with military chicks because you don't have any other options. Because you're stuck on a fucking base and you can't do anything else. And that's why you get with military girls. But you gotta be really fucking careful, man. You get fucking some kind of STD. They're just so disgusting. Like, they're fucking everyone on base, dude. Like, everyone. Like, everyone's fucking each other. Like, airmen are fucking NCOs. NCOs are fucking them. Like, commanders are fucking them. Everyone's fucking everyone. And everyone's got diseases. And that's why it's like, that's why I chose to go as far away as possible. And I wasn't interested in American women. American women are, they don't cook. They don't clean. They're dudes. Like, they don't wear dresses. Like, when's the last time you saw a chick wear a dress? Like, go out and wear a fucking sundress? What was it, 1940, the last time you've seen a girl wear a fucking sundress? Everyone wears, like, yoga pants and Ugg boots. And they're fat. Or, if they're skinny, you know, they're just stuck up. You could tell you don't want anything to do with them. There's some fake fucking LA bitch. It's just the bitch nut. Oh, wow, you look great today. Oh, well, thank you. Doing the fucking bitch nod like that. Come on, dude. Like, they. Oh. I was done with American chicks. So, anyway, we get up to the apartment, and we get all the bags up, and it's a small apartment on the 3rd floor of this brick old European building, about 15 minutes outside of Brussels center by tram. So you could literally hop on a tram, 15 minutes, you're in the center of the city. Center, old buildings, architecture, all that stuff. It was pretty cool. So we get all the stuff up there, and then that's it. I moved. Like, we were together, like this girl and I. And I did leave out one thing. We did get married. While I was still in the military during this last year, so I had the first trip. I went over there, we met and everything. We came back. We got married by proxy because COVID had happened. It was around 2020. And I couldn't leave the country. And also, like, I was a bit afraid that they would extend my contract. It was pretty crazy. I mean, COVID was pretty crazy. So everyone was really unsure as to what was happening, and I was in an international relationship. So, and I wasn't going to give up on it. So we had to find a way to meet each other because all the borders were closed. We couldn't leave. I couldn't go over there to see her. She couldn't go there to see me. Because the plan was I would see her every 6 months. I would fly out to her, I would fly her out to me, and we'd hang out every 6 months. So twice, basically. And that never happened because COVID. So we had to figure something out. So I did some research, and I found that you can actually get married by proxy. So you can literally get married by proxy only if you're in the U.S. military, which I happen to be in. So I asked her about it, what she thought, and she said, fuck it. So that's what we did. I signed, my side. She signed her side. We sent it to this guy. Bam, bam, officially married. So I took this marriage certificate, everything else with me. I had to show it to people at the airport to prove, because you have a family reunification clause. So even if the borders were closed, I could still travel because we were technically family members, and I could be reunified with her. And that's how we did the visa thing too, and all of that is we got married, and then now we're good to go. So I could get a visa, or it's not a visa. It's basically a green card. But the Belgian version, which is it's called La Carte F, and that's what I have. It's basically a residency card showing that I'm a family member of a citizen. So I don't need a visa or anything like that. I'm good to go. I could work. It took me 3 months. I had to wait a long time before I could work. But yeah. Anyway, I remember being in the apartment and realizing that I just moved, and it was quite weird. And my wife... she was my wife at the time, she helped me unpack, and she had everything ready for me. It was just a small 1-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor, super European. The windows opened outward, and like they had like these low ceilings, the diagonal ceilings, and the windows would open upward. And it was really cool. It was a cool apartment, cool kitchen, and everything. And she helped me unpack, and then she didn't speak a word of English. So I was the only one that spoke a bit of French. So I married this chick that doesn't know English, and yeah. So we communicated a bit. We tried to communicate, and it worked out. We could communicate. A lot of help with Google and everything, but we communicated, and it was so weird because even things like she would say like I would ask her to connect to the Wi-Fi, and she would say Wi-Fi? Quoi? C'est quoi le Wi-Fi? But because in French it's Wi-Fi, J'ai envie connecter à la Wi-Fi, s'il vous plaît. Tu connais le mot de passe pour le Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi, but it's Wi-Fi in English. And so I was trying to connect to the Wi-Fi, and she would say Wi-Fi, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, Wi-Fi, you know, and you'd kind of look at it, like, you don't understand, and I don't understand. So there's quite a learning curve there. But she had helped me organize everything, and then we sat down and she made me duck. I don't know, like, you Americans out there, probably not a lot that are eating duck. In French it's called canard, C-A-N-N-A-R-D, canard. Don't confuse it with connard. Connard. Bah, tu es un vrai connard, toi, hein? Connard means asshole, basically. Canard is a duck. So she made me duck, and she fried it, and she she put like diagonal cuts in it, and then she made it with like orange rum, like orange juice. So it was like orange duck. She put like some kind of rum in there, and then she used butter, of course, and then I think she used something else. I can't remember what, but we had duck my first night. She made me duck, which is like it's become one of my favorite things. You know, I'm not wearing my ring right now because I got it resized. So I used to be jacked. You know, now I do a lot of martial arts now, so I'm much more functional. But you know, I never ended up doing it, and so I got it resized. But we are still married. It's been 6 years, I think. We've been married 6 years. And I'm gonna walk you guys through this series, kind of through our like kind of our adventure, and that's the goal of this podcast. So yeah, she made me duck. And I ate it, and it was delicious. And then she gave me some rum, and I drank that. And that was my first day in Belgium. You know, I think it was maybe like afternoon, like 4 or 5 p.m. where I ended up getting there, and then so I think it was nighttime. And I was so freaked out, of moving, and like I just moved countries, and I didn't know like the language or anything. Really, I mean, I knew a bit of French, but I wasn't like a French speaker, I wouldn't say, And it was quite weird. I remember I got into bed the first night next to her, after we had fun. Of course, I didn't just fly fucking how many hours? Like I think it's like 6. Okay, so I think it's about 7 hours from, like, let's say, like okay, let's do it this way. So I flew out of LA, I think, when I left. So from LA to, they have a few ways you can do it. You can go from LA to New York to Paris, Paris to Brussels. So LA to New York, that's about 6 hours, about 6 hours. And then from New York to Paris is another 7-8 hours, and then Paris to Brussels is like an hour. So that's like over 16 hours. I think what I did is I went from LAX to Frankfurt, and I think that took 7-8 hours. I can't remember. I really can't remember. I think they had a direct one to Frankfurt, and then at Frankfurt I got off and then flew from Frankfurt to Brussels, which was a few hours, I think. I think that's what I did. So it was a long flight, a long series of flights. I ended up making it to Brussels. I was really tired. I had to take care of my wife. What the fuck? And then I went to bed, and I remember just sleeping in this bed on the 3rd floor of the apartment, and you could see, like, you had the bed, and then I slept on the right side, and on the right side there were like the whole wall with windows, and so you could see it was all green, and like they had like buildings stacked on each other, like super European style, and it was really green. but it was dark, and so like they had chickens behind there. So in the morning, every morning you'd hear chickens, and like you're high up, so like you're on the third floor, but you can see down, you can see everything. So it's like you're kind of like this city kind of skyline view, but it's kind of like a mix between like a city and like the countryside, kind of, because like you have like these blocks and there's these very tall buildings all around the perimeter, and then on the inside it's all like everyone's gardens. So you're looking at people's gardens and stuff, you know. And it was pretty cool. But it was weird. And my family was super right wing, super pro-military, all ex-military and stuff. And I was this weird dude that just said, fuck it, I'm moving for a foreigner. And I remember I was trying to go to bed and I couldn't close my eyes, even though after this long flight and everything, and I was like, I just moved. Like, how weird is this? I live here now. I used to live there. A few hours ago, I was there. And then now I'm here. And no one speaks my language. I mean, people speak English there, but no one I knew there spoke English. One guy did, but he didn't live in Brussels. He lived outside of Brussels. So I was just laying in bed at night and trying to figure out what the fuck I did, if I've made a massive mistake. And then I had this girl next to me who was my wife, who I didn't really know that well, who didn't speak my language, has never been to America. I'm so crazy. Yeah. That was my first night. I couldn't sleep. So, I tried, and that was it. I think we'll end it there for the first podcast, and then I'll talk a bit more. I called it the I'm going to call this show the I am calling the show the Exile Rant show. Why? Because not only was I exiled from, I won't say was I, like I'm a victim. I'm just showing you that, like, I left normal society, American society, and I joined the military, right? And then I joined another society. I left one society and I joined a subdivision of that society. And then I left this subdivision of the society, of American society, and I joined a subdivision of a completely different society, the Expat subdivision of a foreign society. And I didn't know any expats there. So I went from normal society, completely normal, to military, which is less normal, 1%, less than 1%, to completely different country as an English speaker, which was pretty weird. So I felt like, and then from there, I've always felt kind of not exiled, because exiled has this meaning to it, where it's like if you're exiled from a village, they throw you out of the village. You are no longer a part of this village, or society or whatever, right? I wasn't exiled because nobody threw me out, but it was it was a voluntary exiling. It was voluntary. So, but I wanted to call the show the Exile Rant. It's fluid. It could change. I don't know, but because I feel like I'm kind of an exile from American society, like I said, to that subdivision of the military society, and then from there, I left that society to a different society. But I never fit in. Now, the more I moved, the less I fit into society at all. Because when I started at step 1 in American society, I was like a young dude, young American dude. Then I left that and I became a young American military dude. Okay. And then from there, I became young American military dude living in a foreign country. So with every step, you're exiled more and more and more from that first society, which was the American society. So we'll go into everything else I did later, but so that's why I'd like to call this the Exile Rant show, because one, I feel like I don't really fit into any of these societies. So I don't fit in America. I talk weird now just because my language is French. My wife still doesn't speak English, so we speak only French. So I feel like I've been exiled from, I don't fit in American society. I don't fit in the military society. There's some things that kind of could fit in, but I feel like I don't fit in at all. My views have evolved. Who I am has evolved. Everything's evolved, right? And that's the thing about growth, but the more you grow, the more you grow, the harder it is to come back to where you started. So that's how I feel. And that's why I feel like the Exile Rant show is a great name for the show, because I'm an expat. I'm a military dude. I was a normal American dude, and now I don't fit in Europe because who's that guy with the strange accent? So not in Europe as a whole, speaking French means you're either from Switzerland, Luxembourg, Belgium, or France, right? Probably, right? Yeah. So you're from one of those 5 places. So you're already kind of like, you can't travel to another place. They're going to think you're a stranger. It's not like Europe's not one country. There's a ton of countries within Europe, within the EU. So when I would speak French, I have this weird accent. Like I have some people think I'm Flemish, and Flemish, we'll get into that later. But they think I'm Dutch, basically. Some people think I'm Dutch because my accent. I don't have quite an American accent anymore, but I have some kind of weird thing going on when I speak French, just because the way your tongue moves, and it's pretty hard to correct, but you can do it, but it's pretty hard to do it. So I don't fit in there. I don't fit in the U.S. I feel weird now here, and I don't speak like an American because my tongue moves different, because I only speak French. I don't speak English, really. I mean, I do now, kind of, but yeah, so anyway, I don't really fit anywhere, and then I'm super into martial arts. So I started doing martial arts in America, and it's pretty dog shit. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty dog shit. Come spar me, bitch. You guys want to spar? Come spar me, bitch. I'll spar you, destroy you. I'm a JK brown belt, Shotokan karate, from one of the best schools in the world. It's from Belgium, JKA Belgium. Look it up, JKA Belgium, Japan Karate Association Belgium, Shotokan karate. World champions. They're some of the best karate fighters in the world. Go, bitch. You guys don't know what karate is. Like, in America, you guys don't know what fucking karate is. Like, you guys don't know. Muay Thai. Okay, you guys got Muay Thai, but to be honest, it's pretty slow, and it's not as powerful. I mean, it is powerful, but some of the strikes in karate, man, like in traditional, like good fucking karate, it's way more lethal. I mean, if you put somebody in a cage with a fighter and a fighter, like, okay, Muay Thai is going to win. But if you put somebody somewhere else, the karate guy's going to kick your fucking knees, bro. He's going to kick your knees, and then he's going to punch you in the neck. Like, and he's going to do a fucking shudo uke, and he's going to break your neck. Like, it doesn't, like, karate guys are way faster. So, yeah, look it up, But that's another thing I don't fit into either, because I got into martial arts while I was over there. And, coming back here, we just came back to America after like 5 years, and I started doing jiu-jitsu here. And jiu-jitsu, and they had like the striking thing, this Muay Thai striking. And, I mean, I'm not saying the guy was bad. I mean, he was a legit martial artist. It's just the technique is not there. Muay Thai does not have sharp, precise technique. It's pretty slow, and it's pretty like, it's like burly kind of. It's like, I'm just going to swing my legs at you as hard as I can. That's kind of the whole thing, which is cool. I mean, they're conditioned, they're tough, but it's like, there's no technique. They don't have like good technique. It's not like precise, fast, powerful. And in karate, it's all one blow, It's a one blow to your precise areas. So you're aiming right here. You're aiming here. You're aiming right here in the face. You're not doing these weird uppercuts and anything like that. You know why? Because you're losing energy. You're losing energy because if your body aligns in a very specific way, and you have to follow this alignment. That's why straight punches are the most effective. They're extremely effective. They're extremely powerful if you know how to rotate your body. Way more powerful than hooks or anything like that. These straight punches are... Look at my knuckles, bitch. That's what fucking karate knuckles look like. I'm not saying Muay Thai is bad, but I'm just saying you guys don't know what real karate is. You've never seen it because the best karate guys are all over in Europe, and you guys don't care about that. You're watching fuckball and all this gay shit, You guys aren't out here fighting, And the Muay Thai guys, they think they're the best, which they're good. I'm not going to say they're the best, but they're good. And jiu-jitsu people, they don't know anything because they're, rolling around on the ground. So I wouldn't take their advice, to be honest. But anyway, that's another thing that separates me. And going back to what I was talking about, the Exile Rant podcast, I've thought about this a lot, and I want to convey something. I want to convey that I have a lot to say. I've done a lot, and I don't feel like I fit in at all in society. I never really did, but it's the more I did, and the more I branched out from normal, the more I realized I don't fit in at all, and I don't want to. I feel like most people are drones, or they're unhappy, or they're living like they haven't done anything. They're like coming back, man. Like we'll do another podcast on this. People who are still in the same town, they never left. We'll talk about friends. We'll talk about all that stuff. Especially from someone like someone from me. And I'm not saying this from an egocentric point of view. I mean, I've actually done stuff, so I'd really like to talk about it. Because I have a lot to say, and maybe some people will listen, but I don't really care. I don't care who listens, really. You can listen, you cannot listen. I'm doing this for me because I think it's fun. I'd like to get really good at, producing this. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm recording this on my phone, so I'm gonna get a real camera here soon, and I got a decent setup, so we'll play around with this. Tell me what I should do. As in, from your perspective. So if you guys think about something that maybe I should change. So if my voice is too loud, is not loud enough, if whatever, just let me know. I'm gonna work on this camera thing. We're gonna get some. We're gonna figure this out, but little by little, and you guys can give me some tips. Tell me what I could do to improve. And I will take that. If you guys are going to be dicks, then fuck off. I don't care, really. I'll probably just laugh. and that's it. So the Exile Rant podcast, from someone who's left the country, from someone who's been in the military, from someone who's had quite a crazy life. I'm still in my 20s, so I'm not old yet, Yeah. I think it's a good name. I do feel like an exile. I don't feel like I've been physically exiled, but in a lot of ways I have. For example, we'll talk about that later. Like my family exiled me directly, but I'm talking more on like a societal level. Like leaving one society and integrating to another society. It's kind of this weird thing that most people will never get the opportunity to do, and I think it fits me perfectly. So I think this is quite an interesting thing to talk about. You know, I'd like to show you guys some karate. I'd like to kind of tell you about the things I'm interested in and really get into content creation. You know, like I said, I like tea. It's a very specific kind of tea for a very specific reason. I do smoke some stuff every now and then, so I'll talk about that, and you know, martial arts and all the things I'm quite passionate about and interested in, and then I like to bring in some things from, you know, so whenever I go overseas, which we should be going over here soon, getting some footage, showing you guys about that, you know, about that, and going from there. So first podcast. This is the first time I've ever talked into a mic and recorded it for a podcast, because I always thought, what the fuck do you have to talk about? And I spent time acquiring things to talk about. I spent years acquiring things to talk about. It's like a writer who's never done anything. Like, why would anyone read your stuff? Because you haven't done any, unless it's talking about abstract stuff. But even then, what can you talk about abstractly? You haven't done anything. So what do you have to reference to anything? You can't reference anything, you know? So I'm in that position now. I'm ready to talk. Ready to talk, bitch. And then podcast 2 will come out soon. I'm actually really enjoying this. So let's do it, bitch. All right. Talk to you guys later.